Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Utility Safety and Environment Committee meeting. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the January 19th, 2022 utility meeting minutes. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It was moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the review of the 2022 Streets Resurfacing Program. Mrs. McKillop, please. You all should have gotten this. I gave everybody one on Monday night. If you need one, holler. So while Colleen is doing that, it looks like per ward, we're going to get $214,286.
Went on?
Yep.
Okay.
So, Ms. McKillis, whenever you are ready, take it away.
All right. What we did was priced out the streets that were selected at the last meeting. And in the list, they're separated by wards. Again, as see at the bottom per ward, on average, $214,000 if we split it out evenly. On Ward 1, the total ends up being $209,000 for the 4 streets that Councilman Lippian has selected. And in conversation prior to the meeting, Councilman Lippian also selected an additional street for as an alternate, in the event we have additional funds available, you know, after bids are open. So that would be Fairlawn between Stafford to Denison. And that cost was calculated to be $37,559. Okay, so I believe all your streets, 4 streets on there are the ones that you want to go with for this year's selection, so.
Mr. Lippian is shaking his head in the affirmative. Fairlawn, what to
Fairlawn, Stanford to Denison. All right, so Ward 2. Now that totals $332,000, so we need to bring that down a little.
Mrs. Davis?
Let's remove Bell Avenue from West River.
All right, so we're going to take that out. All right. What about Bond Street?
Hi, Mrs. McKillop. Can you do a running total for us? If you take that out, what does that leave you with? What does that leave Mrs. Davis with?
Okay, so if I do this, let me delete that.
There you go.
We're at 254. 254,000. Can you see that? Should I make that bigger? All right, take out bond.
And then you're under Mrs. Davis.
So here's my question.
Okay.
I have to have, Floridale. Now, remember I talked to you about Floridale being messed up by
The park.
And so,
Oh, okay.
So Floridale Court, I must do that because it's so bad now. I don't know if, Metro Parks is going to fix that or not. And I see that on the report, it wasn't that much. One other report you gave us that has Floridale is at 31,942. It's off of West River. Floridale Court, see, you says
31, yep, 942.
yes. So I need to add Floridale Court to make sure that that's going to be taken care of, because I'm afraid that back and forth with Metro Parks might not be this year.
Okay.
I think
All
we
right.
can just back charge them.
Okay, so we'll put Floridale in here.
Yes.
So. And that was 31.
942.
942.
All right.
So I don't have very much left. $15,000. No. No. Can I put in alternates, through you, Madam Chair, can I put in the alternate streets?
Yes, ma'am.
So my alternate street would be Bond, Lake to Adams.
Okay, so Bond Lake to Adams
As an alternate.
There's an alternate.
alternate. All right, so I'm gonna
If
move
y'all
this.
miraculously find some more money.
Okay, so I'm gonna move that down.
Ms. McKillis, that was $86,775. Bond Lake to Adams was $86,775, and we'll put that as an alternate. So, are we good, Mrs. Davis? Please, I didn't hear you.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's a bit much, okay. We'll just work.
Okay. Ms. McKillis, are we ready to continue?
We are.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Corbin, Ward 3, please.
Madam Chair, I would be more than happy to have Pinewood Drive and Songbird, 427 Songbird done, and postpone Defiance. That would leave over $3,000 that could go to another ward. If I could get those two streets, and I've talked to the residents on both Pinewood and Songbird, and I've driven them several times. They are in definite need of repair, as the service department pointed out. If I could have those two done, that would be $211,000, which would leave someone for $3,000.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We'll let Ms. McKillis catch. Did you want to put it as an alternate, Mr. Corbin? In case
Sorry?
would you like to put that street as an alternate in case we find some
Yes,
extra money?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But my priority would be Pinewood, Songbird, and then Defiance.
Got it.
Absolutely. Right. Okay.
Look at Ward 4.
Ward 4, Mr.
Damn,
Oswald.
That's huge.
Through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, it's a tough decision because they're all pretty bad. My first question goes to Kathy. The street that I really need done is Hamilton Circle, and that's a concrete street. And for the last 3 years, I've been talking about getting that fixed. And so I put it down here to get it paved because one way or another, it's got to get done. you lose your vehicle in the concrete, when you drive down that road. So if that one's gonna get in another aspect of things taken care of, like I can use the money somewhere else, you know what I mean? I keep saying that there's concrete street projects that are gonna be taken care of, but not out of this fund.
So you're willing to, if you can get that street just paved because it's in really bad condition?
It's, you know, see, right now, if I pave it, it's in this cost, I'm gonna do it, you know? But if it's gonna be fixed concrete in another, you know, not through issue 6 money,
Yeah, right now, there's no,
you know what they keep,
Yeah.
I know, they keep talking about this, I keep mentioning it in the same old answer every time. So,
Yep.
okay, I won't press a point, I'll move along.
I would say go ahead and get it done.
Yes, I am, but I'm gonna still press you on that concrete work. Okay, so
Understood.
then I guess I'm gonna go with Hamilton Circle,
okay,
Hemlock cul-de-sac,
okay.
and then if I can get Vista Court. So I don't know what those totals are, if you wanna add those up.
Okay, so we're not gonna do this one. Of Ohio. And Overbrook, we already talked about that. Overbrook, we have a project, that involves our sewer, that involves sewer work, so we don't wanna pave it and then in the next 1 or 2 years, rip it out again, so we're putting that one on hold. So the remaining is 221.
Okay, so I'm a little bit over, am I good? It's 221, I'm okay with that. If by chance, I know it's a big one, Ohio Street, as far as the alternative, that's a lot of money. When we get those alternatives, I'm sure we'll come back with those, but I'll call Ohio Street as an alternative, and hopefully the fairy godmother drops us some more money.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Ward 5, Mrs. I'm sorry, Mrs. McKillis, are you ready?
Yes.
I apologize. Mrs. Simmons?
All right, we totally redoing mine.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. So we're totally redoing mine. But I have a question before I got a lot of alleys. How does that work? Still considered streets, right?
Are these paved alleys? Are they like, you know, like,
I mean, all of them are paved, but,
okay, so these are
it's-
the actual, like, you know, like, yeah, these are the ones between like 10th and 11th or 8th and 9th or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay,
or
all
like
right, I
Bears
just wanna make sure.
Lane, that's considered an alley too, right?
So they, yes, so those would be
So how does
considered-
that work? Still streets?
Yes.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off State Street, I'm gonna take off West Avenue, I'm gonna take off 16th Street. And I'm going to add,
I got a text, and I apologize, I didn't keep it. That West, and Ms. McKillis helped me out here, West Avenue, the Riverside, they're doing something.
West Ave between, Barris and 9th is an OPWC project.
Oh, okay. No, I
No,
got a
that's
text
okay.
that they were doing something.
wasn't it on 11th Street?
Was it 11th to Riverside?
It's just what I was
Leadline
talking about this
services.
morning.
so,
Lead line services.
Are they gonna redo the road as they repair the lead line services, or?
They'll just patch the.
I see, okay,
patch
I'm
the
sorry.
hole.
so they'll just patch. Well,
Ms. McKillis, can you pull up the, streets for Ms. Simmons, and so she can see what
I
she
got
wants,
George Street, that's the only.
with the dollar amount,
And Fuller
Sure.
is being
the
done.
one with the dollar amount? Thank you. There,
No, I ain't trying to leave no money, but,
no, you had another sheet.
Other sheet.
right.
Sorry, but,
Valley
yeah, that's the dollar amount.
Street.
Okay.
Diane, do you?
Got a lot of alleys.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why mine's so high. Oh, from west to east, yeah, that's really bad. So, I'm thinking, so how much more money I got? I got like almost 90-something. Okay, so I got like 80,000 left. So,
Which, they're all bad?
yeah. Just trying to stay with.
You have 81,000 left to use.
And I did put 11. I don't know. If they're gonna patch that 11th Street, West Avenue to Riverside Drive, would that be stupid to have it paved? Or,
I think when they say patch, they're just throwing some tar down.
They're just gonna do I mean, it'll be considered a permanent patch, permanent repair, but it'll be a pavement with, patches along the road.
because that's what I kinda wanted to get, a West Avenue to Riverside Drive.
Want to do that one?
Yeah,
11th Street to Riverside?
yeah. Even though Bears Lane, but I mean, it's just how much you use, how many people go down Bears Lane? That's really, really bad. They get some extra money. And that's 90. Yeah, I don't have any more left. Not even enough to get,
So if you're gonna do 11th Street, West Avenue to Riverside, that takes care of your 80,000. That leaves you like with what, $1,000?
right.
You can't get nothing done with $1,000.
I know, I know.
So we good?
So, wait, I have 11th Street and I have
Yeah, George Street
George
is.
Street.
Hold on a second. What did you say, Ms. McKillop?
So
George Street,
which one of these are we adding back in? I have 11th
what did
and I
I
have George.
I said 11. Then I said George Street.
And West Avenue, 8th through 11th.
Okay,
That was 137,000.
Nah, I don't want that.
You don't want that one. Okay.
So I can do one more. Which would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Bars Lane. Bears Lane, but. That put me at 223, right?
If we add that in there, then you're at 223.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
So while you're thinking, we're gonna move on. Mr.
Yeah,
Sarah,
I did those three, I'm good.
which three did you decide on?
Bears Lane, 11th Street, West Avenue to Riverside Drive, and George Street.
Okay, you're at 123,000. You're good. 220.
200.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Mr. Sear, I'm gonna let you go ahead of me, 'cause you got a lot of cutting to do, sir.
Yep.
Beer budget.
So I got, Poplar Street, 57 to White Oak. Wesley, Cleveland Street to Poplar. And Pasadena, Greeley to Poplar. If I'm not mistaken, that comes out to 225, 751. I don't know if we have any leeway there or not.
How much did you say, Pat? I don't see Pasadena. Oh, it's on the, okay.
Third one is Pasadena?
Yeah, Pasadena, Greeley to Poplar.
Okay, all right, that was on the,
That was on the first list.
okay.
I don't want to do Denison. That's not my ward.
Oops,
I don't have
I grabbed
enough
the
money
wrong
to do
one.
my own. I'm not doing other ones.
all right. Pasadena. Dash away.
We're good, Mr. Sarah?
If I can get that in, that would be okay for now.
Yes, sir. And for, whenever you're ready, Ms. McKillis. I don't mean to rush you.
Okay.
And I'm happy with Ward 6. We'll just go with that.
Okay.
And what does that take us to? Ooh,
Should be the total one.
so Mr. Plusky won't scream at us for being 20,000 over, I don't think. We'll ask him to find more money for us. We'll make it work. They'll make it work. So, everybody relatively happy? Mr. Lippian, you have a question, sir?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Does that mean that we might be able to cover the remainder in the budget between the 209 we currently have and whatever we can budget up to with that Fairlawn, that section of Fairlawn we talked about? So, you know, whatever the difference is between the 209 and the max budget, can we cover that section of Fairlawn in case we don't have enough money to use it fully as an alternate? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else, questions, comments? Mr. Sarah?
Through you, Madam Chair. So when is this going to go out for bids?
Ms. McKellar?
As soon as we get the plans put together. So we've already started on some of the streets, collecting information on the signs, lengths, widths. We have the basic information. We're probably, I know our engineer's gonna push real hard to get it going here in the next month, so let's say 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully
Yeah,
sooner than that.
I was curious because we did, you know, get this going early this time so that we can get them in earlier.
That's the goal.
Thank you.
Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Madam Chair. So hopefully, what's your gut feeling that if we get these out now and get them bid, is there any possibility that by getting them in early, we may get some better pricing? You know, when they go out for bid?
it's possible, because, you know, this time of year, companies are still trying to fill up their schedule for the year. So hopefully, you know, that's still the case. We do want to give them some leeway as to schedule, so we do want to provide them enough schedule time to fit us into that window where we can fit in, you know, especially if it's a bigger company, in between their bigger, let's say, state jobs. But we also want to try to get these streets done long before it starts getting cold out. So that's the goal.
So through you, Madam Chair, I guess that was twofold: get better pricing, and like we said, we wanted to get these roads done sooner. We're not racing towards the end, so hopefully this works.
Yep. Mrs. Davis?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'd just like for her to just go over from Ward 1 all the way down so we can kind of see where we're at. I don't know if this is $1,520,000, is that our new number now, or?
That's the total.
Okay, can we just kind of go over
Ms.
and
McKillop?
see that we're on the same page?
Now here we go. So, Ward 1, 209,020. Ward 2 at 199,277. Ward 3, 211,436. Ward 4, 221,515. Ward 5, 223,958. Ward 6, 229,951. Ward 7, 225,752.
And keep in mind that if the bids come back in lower than we're anticipating, we can always add alternate routes. Mr. Lippian had his hand up. I see you, Mr. Thayer.
Through you, Madam Chair, thank you. And again, I'm not a member of the Utilities Committee, but I'm a guest, and thank you very much for acknowledging me. So what you're saying, Madam Chair, is that there's still some more horse trading to be done once we get those final numbers in, as far as like what streets we will be able to fit in the budget.
This is kind of sort of the final, but if the bids come in lower than what we're anticipating with the dollar amounts that are on here, then we can possibly get alternates done. If by some miracle there's extra money somewhere, same thing.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Mr. Sarah?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm just going to basically echo what you just said. In the past, there's been times that the revenues came in better and we were able to do a second round.
Mm-hmm.
So keep your fingers crossed.
And I want to let everybody know, just as a reminder, there are signs that Mr. Sarah has that said this road is paid for by issue $6 at work. Mr. Sarah, what does it say?
Yeah, issue 6 at work.
Issue 6 at work. So as they do roads, they do put those signs out, because it's important, I think, to remind the residents that, hey, we are using issue 6 to get roads done. As I said 9,000 times, and you guys are sick of hearing me say it, our job as ward council people, this is the most important thing that we do, I think, is to get roads done. Hold on, Mr. Sarah?
On those signs, Kathy, if you could find out how many we have left and where they might be, and
who
so we can
puts them
figure
up?
out if we need to get more.
Mr. Lippian?
They do.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I speak on behalf of council when I say we don't ever get sick of hearing you talk about how important issue 6 is in the streets, because we know you're passionate about it.
I am.
And you're not just passionate about it, you're interested in it. And thank you for leading us through this process so we can take care of our resident streets.
If you all don't know this, this is my favorite time of the year. I love doing this. I love this. This is, so let me read the committee report. If there are no other questions and/or comments, seeing none, Ms. Davis? Yes, ma'am.
Through you, Madam Chair. Now, we getting 1.5 mils from issue 6, am I correct?
That's what Mr. Pileski said. That's the projection.
Okay.
That we have
From
1.5.
issue 6.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to the other money that we used to get from, license or?
From Muni
Mu-
and all of that.
And roads, where happened to our money from that? We used to at least get 300,000.
You're correct.
Where's my money? Let's find it.
Ms. McKillop? Mr. Brubaker? Anybody? I have no idea. That's a question for Mr. Pulaski. We'll ask him where our money is. Okay, Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Madam Chair. I guess I was just reading that in our resolutions, on Monday, we were, money for the crack filling.
Was
And
used through money.
within that, it said where the money was coming out of, the license tax and the muni tax, and some of these monies, like you're talking about, went for the designing of Cleveland Street and Broad Street. So the money is being spent for the roads, but it's being spent for that. And you can ask Mr. Phillips, but that's where monies has been going, allocated.
Ms. McKillop?
Madam Chair, through you. The muni motor is being, I don't want to say it's being saved, but which it sort of is, for our share of East Broad Street, because we have a percentage that we have to pay as a match against the federal funds that we're getting for that improvement. Same thing with the Cleveland Street project. We have a percentage that we need to pay, so we need to supply our match, and those match funds are coming out of the muni motor fund.
Excuse me, we can ask Mr. Pulaski about that, but I've been on council long enough to remember when we only had Muni, and we only had 300,000 if it was a good year. So we got one street per ward. So thanks to issue 6, we can do a little bit more. Okay. Not a good street, right. No other questions and or comments? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the 2022 street resurfacing program, and this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the 2022 street resurfacing program and to include the attached list of streets. Emergency clause is requested due to seasonal construction time constraints. Can I get a motion, please?
Ooh, so moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mrs. Simmons. All those, are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. That was relatively painless. Thank you all. The next item on the agenda is the matter of ballistic vests for the Elyria Police Department. Chief Pelko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So at the police department, as you all are aware, we wear bulletproof vests to protect us from firearms. We're coming up on the 5 years of our purchase, and these vests have a 5-year warranty and shelf life. So I would like to get my officers some new bulletproof vests so they're covered under the warranty. What we're looking at is we're looking at going through Galls to get a point blank vest. It's through NASPA, which is similar to the state bid pricing. So according to the law director's office, we're covered under that. But the current pricing of the vest are $903 for one with an interior carrier and $1,070 for one with an external carrier. The external carrier, I don't know if you see the guys, but they have, you can put the attachments on the vest instead of on your belt. So most of the guys like that because it takes the strain off their backs. So the majority of vests will be those. So we're looking to purchase 73 of the external carrier vests and 4 internal carrier vests. The total purchase is going to be $81,722. We are applying for some grants. There's a state grant that we've gotten for the past several years, which covers 75% of the cost up to $40,000. So that should cover 50 vests. And then, I'm sorry, that's a state grant, and the federal grant covers 50% of the cost of the remaining 27 vests. that wouldn't be covered under the state grant. So we would pay approximately $28,000 for the 77 vests and reimburse $54,000 from the grants.
Thank you, Chief Pelko. Mrs. Deary?
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Chief, just, I want to make sure I heard correctly. Did you say this is through a cooperative purchasing program?
Is it NASPA or, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And also, does this need to be, emergency legislation? Are you, I don't know what kind of, if there's grant deadlines or anything like that, or if they've already been submitted, or what sort of
I think they
timeframe?
want us to have it by like the end of March.
Okay.
So I don't know if that would
Okay.
constitute
All right.
an emergency or not.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Madam Chair, of course, definitely, I want you to have those vests. Now, will them vests, work clip-ons for where the body cameras are gonna go?
Yeah, yep,
So they
Yeah.
were, okay,
yep. They'll definitely work with what we're getting for the body cameras.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions and/or comments? Ms. Davis?
Through you, Madam Chair. So the one vest is 903 for one, and the other interior, so which one would you recommend? You got two different kinds here, so it's one 903 and the other one is 1,070.
Yes.
Which one would you recommend?
The external.
So they're gonna be the same vest. The only difference is the carrier that the ballistic plates go in. The one that's cheaper is a vest that you wear on the inside that goes under would go under my uniform shirt.
Mm-hmm.
The other vest has a carrier that would go on the outside of my uniform shirt that looks just like my uniform, but then on the bottom part, around the belly, there's like straps that you can put your attachments, you can put your magazines, your pepper spray, your flashlight, your taser. What that does is it takes the weight off the, if you get the cheaper vest, you've got to wear all of your equipment around your belt, which has been proven to cause some back problems. By putting the equipment on their actual vest and torso, it relieves some of the back pain and back stress. So that's why it's more expensive. But you're getting the same ballistic protection, the same plates. It's just a different carrier that the ballistic plates are going into. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Davis, any other questions?
I'm done, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other questions and/or comments? If seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of ballistic vests for the police department, and this is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of said equipment for the police department through state purchasing or equivalent program, partially to be paid from state and federal grants, and a portion to be paid by the city. Emergency clause due to ordering lead times. Can I get a motion, please?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Chief Pelko, can I, and this is not on the agenda, but I just want to say, one of the things that you said as you came in as chief was that you were gonna concentrate on, traffic enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, when I take Leo Bullock's Parkway coming here, and I watch cars blow through there, they don't even pretend that they're gonna stop.
Where was that at?
On Leo Bullock's Parkway, right at Gateway.
Okay.
So,
I will, just so you know, we're understaffed and
I
I'll
know.
do what we can and I'll talk to my guys again and we'll try and get some extra enforcement out there.
Okay, thank you,
Okay?
sir.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the matter of purchasing a 2022 Mack semi-tractor and Ford F-450 for the WWPC plant. Superintendent Corzan, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, this is to purchase a 2022 Mack semi-tractor to replace one that we have that's giving us all kinds of issues, very expensive issues. So at the prompting of the city's vehicle manager, we are going out to do this. This will be purchased through the ODOT contract. And the reason that the monies for both of these are in my temporary budget. The reason that we're going out for the Mack semi-tractor right now is because of the long lead time. We're looking at probably over a year to get this thing. So we're limping along with the other one until we can get the new one in. Also, we're looking to replace a 2011 Ford F-350 with a new Ford F-450. And we have the ability, again, this money is in my temporary budget, we have the ability to purchase this one like now. Otherwise, we'd be looking at 8 to 9 months before we could get this to replace the other vehicle. So, and that is going to be through the Ford Fleet Government Pricing Plan.
Thank you, Mr. Corzine. Excuse me. Are there any questions for Mr. Corzine? Ms. Davis?
Through you, Madam Chair. So those other old vehicles, can we get rid of them on government, through the government, or are they just not worth fooling with at all?
Yes, we'll be working through the fleet manager to figure out the best way to do that, and we'll most probably be coming back to council for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. No other questions? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the purchase of a 2022 Mack semi-tractor and a 2022 Ford F-450 4x4 truck for the wastewater pollution control plant. And this is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of said vehicles for the WWPC plant. Estimated cost for the semi-tractor is $150,000. Estimated cost for the Ford F-450 truck is $60,700. Monies have been appropriated in the 2022 temporary budget. Emergency clauses requested due to long lead time. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, Mr. Jacobs requested that we removed it. They're still doing some investigating. He's not ready to move forward with that. So we'll jump to item number 6. This is the matter of a wet water program, water pollution loan fund app and agreement. Ms. McKillis, please.
We're requesting authorization for the mayor to apply for DEFA loan through the Ohio EPA for our East Side Relief Sewer Phase 1D and 2 North project. The loan will be for approximately $20 million, give or take $100,000. And this project, as some of you already know, is part of our wet weather program. And our wet weather program is a list of projects that we're being mandated to do through a consent decree that we're currently still negotiating with the DOJ and the US EPA and Ohio EPA. But we are moving forward with getting these projects done. This Phase 1D and 2 North are next on the list. It involves the sewer being continuing on Poplar Street, being extended down Harwood to Dilworth to Gulf, down Gulf to East Bridge, and we'll terminate it temporarily right there near the railroad tracks for now until we get the next phase designed and applied for, which will probably be in another year or two.
Thank you, Mrs. McKillis. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of a loan agreement through Division of the Environmental and Financial Assistance, DEFA, for the wet weather program, East Side Relief Sewer Phase 1D and 2 North. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for and enter into the said loan program. Emergency clause is requested due to application deadline. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is a matter of a grant application for the Safe Routes to School program. Mrs. McKillop.
In recent months, council endorsed the active transportation plan that was spearheaded by Lorraine County Health Department. And in conjunction with city staff, we completed the plan, and we're going to start utilizing that plan to apply for grant funds. So this is the first grant that we want to apply for, Safe Routes to School. We are applying for 2 projects. First one is constructing sidewalks along Middle Ave near Colonial Oaks Mobile Home Park, in the area of Wood Street, where there are currently no sidewalks that exist. And this project is within 1 mile of Hamilton Elementary School and the South Elyria Public Library, as well as the sports complex. The second project is up on the north end near Rosalie, in the areas of Randall and Hilliard, right there by the new Northwood School. And this will also be constructing new sidewalks on Rosalie, where currently no sidewalks exist. And this will also help align sidewalks with some intersection improvements that'll happen through an OPWC project there at Hilliard and Rosalie. We're asking for the max amount, which is $400,000 for these 2 projects combined. And right now, if we're granted the funds, we would be looking at a construction year of somewhere in the realm of 2024, 2025.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Oswald?
Do we have to come up with any money, or is that a $400,000 they're just gonna hand us?
They'll give us $400,000. Anything over the $400,000 would be 100% city cost.
Okay.
Thank you.
Through
Mr.
you.
Lithian?
Through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Engineer McKillips, for the presentation. Thank you also for the time you spent with me and Sarah Tilley from the Health Department discussing the process of this grant application. The grant was the Safe Routes to School grant, and the safety travel plan was developed and given the blessing by council before I had the privilege of sitting on this body and amongst these great colleagues. And after getting a chance to talk with you, I'm heartened by the fact that all the sidewalks that are being requested in this maximum grant request are all sidewalks, all areas that did not previously have any sidewalks. So that's correct, Engineer McKillips, right? Correct. So, and I really thank you that you took the time to sit with me, and we talked about a lot of other grants that we can apply for, and we talked about a lot of other initiatives that we can implement and explore in the working and partnering with our residents and being good neighbors and finding a way to partner with them to restore a really good grant, a really good sidewalk situation for our neighborhood. And you did tell me too that you were going to explore in the grant application if there was any opportunity to do what we called spot checking, which is where just a couple spots that are just really egregiously bad in the first ward could be potentially included in this grant. Since I spoke with Jeremy Adato from ODOT, and he indicated to me that while putting sidewalks down where no sidewalks previously existed do contribute to the grant strength, it makes it even stronger if you're able to include some areas of sidewalk repair in there. And he did say that we could do some spot checks. So what was the substance of your investigation? Was there any flexibility in that request for some of the really rough sidewalks to just get checked? and get fixed?
We are looking at still adding in, a couple spots in that area into the plan. An email went out to, Mr. Adato today, and he's requested a project map and engineer's estimate for that information. I don't have it ready for him yet, but as soon as I do, I'll provide it to him and get his blessing, and as long as he's okay with it, then we'll go with it.
Great.
I think we can get it in within the budget.
Great. And just to follow up, through you, Madam Chair, thank you. And just to follow up, I just want to thank you, Engineer McKillips, for working with me and partnering with me and showing flexibility and interest. As you know, Councilwoman Mitchell's passionate about streets. I'm passionate about sidewalks and streets, and I think we all just want to make Elyria the best place it can be, the safest place it can be, especially for our children who commute to these schools. And you know, Eastern Heights campus and the Constellation schools in the First Ward are definitely a lot high volume of students attending. So thank you very much for your presentation and your collaboration with me, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions and/or comments? Seeing none, I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of a grant application for Safe Routes to School program, and this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to submit an application and accept funds for said program. Emergency clause is requested due to the application deadline. Can I get a motion, please?
So, second.
Been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of the 16th Street Waterline Replacement Project. Engineer McKillips, please.
We are requesting, authorization to advertise and award a contract for the 16th Street Waterline Replacement Project. Monies have been, I believe, appropriated in the temporary budget. And we'd also like emergency language in all three legislations for these waterline projects so that we can get these projects bid out as soon as possible and under construction, not knowing what the supply chain issues we may run into. We want to get these completed in the ground before 16th Street is not necessarily that big of an issue, but the other two involve OPWC resurfacing streets this year. So we need to get these completed.
Through you, Madam Chair, so you say 16th Street. So which area of 16th Street? Is it from Middle Avenue over to east, or is it from Middle over to west? Where?
This one is it's actually by South Park. It's from the culvert, which is about mid-block between Middle and East Ave. So it's from the culvert east towards East Ave. And this water line is going to be in the tree lawn on the north side.
Mrs. Davis.
And through you, Madam Chair, I know there isn't sidewalks along there either. This goes over to south to the park there. So is there some kind of way we can get sidewalks there? A lot of kids travel up and down Middle to the South Park.
I agree with you. I don't know where we will find money for sidewalks. Something we could look into, but I don't know where we would find money for sidewalks. It's something we can certainly look into, right? We can certainly look into it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions and/or comments? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the 2022 16th Street Waterline Replacement Project, and this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and award a contract for said project. Monies are appropriated in the 2022 Water Fund budget, and they're requesting an emergency clause. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of the Cedar Street and Second Street Waterline Replacement Program. It sounds like the same thing, Mrs. McKillop?
Pretty much. This is also requesting authorization, for the mayor to advertise and award a contract for Waterline on Second and Cedar Street. Now that the limits are Second Street from East Ave to Cedar, and then Cedar from Second Street to Broad. So it's just around that curve area, that area that we're planning on paving. We're also asking for the emergency, language in the legislation.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. Oswald?
Well, you just said Cedar Street that we're planning on paving. When did we say that we were, I know Cedar Street?
That was from last year, if I'm not mistaken.
OPWC, so,
Okay,
yes,
all right.
yes.
Oh, thank you.
Different funding.
Any other questions and no comments? Seeing none, I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the 2022 Second Street / Cedar Street Waterline Replacement Project, and this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and award a contract for said project. Monies are appropriated in the 2022 water fund budget, and they're requesting an emergency clause. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chief Pelko, for coming. The next item on the agenda is the matter of the Oberlin Elyria Road Waterline Replacement Project. Engineer McKillop.
Again, this one's authorizing the mayor to advertise and award a contract for the Oberlin Elyria Waterline Replacement Project. This is, going from 16th Street and Middle Ave, down Oberlin Elyria, all the way to the railroad tracks by Rural King. So this is a pretty long section. It does have a high price, dollar amount because of the length. And we're also asking for the emergency language in this legislation as well.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the 2022 Oberlin Road Waterline Replacement Project, and this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and award a contract for said project. Monies are appropriated in the 2022 water fund budget. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Mrs. McKillop, thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is the matter of applying for and accepting a 2022 OEPA recycle grant for the purchase of an F-450 truck, chipper, and box truck for sanitation. I apologize, sorry. For sanitation and the forestry department. Mr. Brubaker.
Yes,
I'm
thank
sorry.
you. You're okay. I was gonna say, if that's for me, I'm not home.
I always put it on silent and I didn't. I apologize.
So this is the exact same grant that we applied for and received last year, and it was allowed us to replace an older set of equipment at the Sanitation Forestry Department, and we have the opportunity to apply for it again this year. If I'm not mistaken, last year the cost was about $115,000, and the city's cost of that was right around $20,000. So we're getting a brand new F-450, a completely new chipper, as well as the box to go in the F-450. We will also be putting a plow on this truck as well to utilize in winter storms. But this will be a grant, and there is a small match to it.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Oswald?
Okay, so are we adding another one, or are we getting rid of one? And if we're adding it, do we not have enough labor to keep, because I get a lot of calls on brush in the yard, and if you're adding another one in more man hours, that's great. So are you adding or getting rid of one?
We will be adding a truck and a box. A chipper, we will be replacing one of the older ones. So to answer your question, it's both yes. Do we have the personnel? By throwing a third truck out will help greatly on that, but we have personnel that we could call in to utilize that equipment.
All right, that's great, thanks.
Mrs. Deary?
Thank you, through Madam Chair. Director Brubaker, just asking for purposes of drafting legislation, are you coming up against the grant deadline? Do you need an emergency clause?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Director Derry. That is correct. We would like, on this particular legislation, the emergency clause. We will submit it, and we'll find out in early May. If we get that, again, we're dealing with turnaround time, particularly on the F-450, so.
And we're getting a brand-new truck for $24,000, and that's a heck of a deal. Oh. Chipper, yes, sir. Any other questions and/or comments? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the 2022 Ohio EPA Recycle Grant, and this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept, if offered, the said grant, which will allow for the purchase of a 2022 F-450 truck, chipper, and box truck for the Sanitation Forestry Department. A 20% match is requested. The grant request is for $96,150. The city's match is $24,038. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of applying for and accepting a 2022 NOPEC NEC grant for the purchase of LED lighting upgrades. Director Brubaker, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair, and this will not require an emergency. This isn't, we don't have to submit this until mid-March. So we have plenty of time on it, late March. This is about a $98,000 NOPEC grant that we are getting, and the administration would like to use this for LED lighting upgrades in the downtown area. There is no match to this, so this is just $98,000 we have capability of to change out some lights and put more lights, brighter lights in the downtown area.
Thank you, Mr. Brubaker. Any questions and/or comments? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the 2022 NOPEC NEC grant, and this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept, if offered, the said grant, which will allow for LED lighting upgrades, electrical updates, and generators. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And last but not least, this is the matter of a snow ban on Eastern Heights Boulevard. Councilman Lippian, please.
Through you, Madam Chair, thank you. Again, not a member of the Utilities Committee, but I wanted to refer this because a resident has brought this up, and I thought it was a good idea. We're referring to, I believe, 351.18 under the ordinance, the snow emergency, which basically stipulates that for snow in excess of 4 inches in an under 24-hour period, the Safety and Service Director may institute an emergency and declare that certain streets do not have parallel parking in order to make room for the snow plows to clear the streets. I just saw some issues where the snow, because people had parallel parked on Eastern Heights, the snow where they'd parallel parked didn't get removed, and so some people had dragged their trash cans all the way out into that snowbank in the middle of the street so that the garbage man would get their cans. So it's just become a bit of a hazardous situation here, especially given the schools. So I am calling for these snow emergencies. They are temporary. It would apply to all of Eastern Heights and only during times of that excess snow. My inclination is not to pass this on an emergency or a suspension of rules, simply because I'd like to create the 30-day opportunity for the citizens to have a conversation about it if they wish. And I got a chance to discuss this with Director Kevin Brubaker, and he agreed, and we initially just thought we would only do one part of Eastern Heights, but he said after driving through and taking the time to generously drive around it and look at the whole street, he thinks we could and should do the entire street, and I thank him for taking the time to do that. I met with several Eastern Heights residents. I also, got a chance to have conversations with about 30 of them, all on both sides of Eastern Heights, both sides of Prospect. And given the Eastern Heights campus there, K through 8, and the Constellation schools, many were, no one was against this. Many were enthusiastic. Some even said 2 inches, but I don't think we want to go that far. So I have one such resident here today, Mr. Jimmy Weatherby. And Madam Chair, is it possible that we could welcome him to the podium to say a few words in support?
Hold on just a moment. So did you or did you not speak with the residents of Eastern Heights? You did.
Oh, I did. Yes,
and
I
they
did.
are okay with this?
Yes.
Director Brubaker.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As Councilman Lippian said, him and I had a couple conversations. And this evening, which was one of the reasons why I was running a little bit late, is I actually went out and drove. Because the original conversation was, do we do both sections, which would be East River to Garford and then Prospect to South Logan. And my initial thought was we focus on East River to Garford because I thought the other section may have been too narrow. So when I went out and drove it, both sections have currently driving on the north side. It's just one side, the north side of Eastern Heights Boulevard. Both of those sections are considered mains for our main plowing. So whether it's 1 inch or 2 inches, we're plowing and salting because they are both direct access right into the campus. So I would concur with him, and I drove down through there. I saw cars still parked there. I talked to Keenan Williams this evening in regards to that, and he said it would certainly make it easier because it is the big trucks that are going down through there. So when Councilman Lippian brought this to my attention, we did a little bit more research even this evening just to verify some of this information. And by ordinance, council would have to pass this.
Thank you, Mr. Brubaker. Law Director Deary, did you want to weigh in, please?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. So obviously this would be something that I would want, obviously, Mr. Lippian to take a look at, as well as Safety Service Director, but just from what I'm hearing, it would be looking like we would be amending Codified Ordinance 351.18C, which is the list of all the streets, and we would be adding Eastern Heights, East River to Garford, and then Eastern Heights Prospect to South Logan. Does that sound what we're talking
Madam
about
Chair,
here?
through you, that would be correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Mr. Oswald.
Through you, Madam Chair. So I've had the same problem. So do we have to come to council every time we have a street that we want? I think they should be revisited for a lot of these streets on where the snow ban is. And he did bring up the point, and I've mentioned it a lot, of course, because they're on the streets. And I get it, we can't do a whole city ban, but there's got to be more areas. And do we revisit all these at this point, or are we going to come back for every separate street?
Ms. Deary and then Mr. Brubaker.
Well, through you, Madam Chair, I would say that there is a separate ordinance, which is 351.17, which is removal of vehicles from streets during an emergency, and this was passed back in 2016. And that does basically is a citywide ban. That would be obviously an exceptionally extraordinary circumstance, but basically it does say that it gives the administration the authority to require removal of motor vehicles parked upon pretty much anywhere.
So this is already taken care of then?
Well, yes and no. If, again, in the opinion of the mayor, and I'm reading straight from it, there is an actual or threatened local emergency, such as, and I'm not going to read them all, but excessive snowfall is one of them, then the mayor may require the removal of motor vehicles parking upon affected streets of the city. Mayor shall inform the public, blah, 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 blah. They need to be removed within a reasonable time. The vehicle may be removed on the order of the police department. So that is a blanket if you're saying nobody in the city anywhere. Now, bear in mind, there are parts of the city where there are no driveways. There are parts of the city that have no off-street parking. So that's something to bear in mind. But if we're looking at, say, the blizzard of 78, where we got to literally dig people out of house and home, that I believe would be the sort of situation that this would be contemplating. But barring that sort of blanket-wide type situation, yeah, then to answer your question, yes, we would be looking at, if you're adding certain areas, then yes, you'd need to bring that forward, and council would need to amend the list under 351.18.
Mr. Brubaker, if you'll give me just a moment, and I don't recommend just willy-nilly adding streets because you want to add a street. I would suggest you have conversations with your residents and make sure that that's something that they want. You know, because, just a moment, because they may not want a parking ban. They may not have anywhere to park. So we have to be mindful of that as well. Director Brubaker.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, the Safety Service Department, North Street Department goes out and evaluates which streets should be, that comes from council. And I can tell you in the last 14, 15 years that I've been involved with this area of work, whether on council or in this position here, this is the first time that I can remember we've come back and added a street or a section of streets. And in the last snowstorm, as Director Deary talked about, I did consider citywide, but I spoke with the mayor because he was the one that was kind of looking at that. And I said, you got to remember, we have some areas, particularly on the south and the far west side, as the Director Deary says, that don't have that capability. So just to make it blanket puts a very big strain on other residents. So it needs to be done, and I agree with you, not willy-nilly. It needs to be investigated and looked at, which is exactly what Councilman Lippy and I did. I mean, it's a main. It goes directly to a school. Street Department says, you know, that typically is a problem. So that's kind of how we looked at it. Otherwise, if it hadn't fallen into those parameters, I probably would not have agreed, and I don't know that Councilman Lippy would have even brought it forward.
Thank you, Director Brubaker. And I will say, if there's a street that you want to institute a parking ban on, have a conversation with Director Brubaker. And if he thinks it's warranted, perhaps Engineer McKillop may need to get involved as well. But talk to them, and then if they say, yeah, I think you're right, then make a referral for council. Mr. Corbin.
Unbeknownst to me, this morning, I received a telephone call from two residents who live on Eastern Heights. These are associates that I work with, and they endorse having a snow ban on that street. So, I mean, I had no idea this was on the agenda for tonight, but I can verify what Mr. Lippian is saying, that the residents seem to be, we'd like to have something with our street. Let's get the cars off it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Did you want to speak, sir? Yes. If I can ask you to come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name's Jamie Weatherby, and I live at 136 Eastern Heights. I contacted Councilman Lippian about a snow ban after not this previous snowstorm, but the one in January. And in the January storm, there were cars parked at such an interval, like every 2 to 3 houses on the road, that the plows couldn't even plow one side of the road.
Sure.
This previous snowstorm, there were only 2 cars parked on the road, so they were able to plow most of it. But the simple fact that I was wondering, over the last 13 years of living at that address, there's always been at least 2 schools, and before the remodel of Eastern Heights, there were technically 3 schools with McKinley, Eastern Heights, and Constellation, and why there hadn't been a snow ban there before. So like I said, I contacted Councilman Lippian and brought it up, and just the concerns about the safety. A lot of those houses, they don't do their sidewalks, so you have kids walking in the road when there's only half a road to drive on with the buses and whatnot. Also, I actually walked around with Councilman Lippian the other day, speaking to some of the other residents, and they were all pretty much in favor of what we were talking about, especially with it being just a temporary ban.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming this evening. So, Mr. Brubaker, do you think that we need to revisit the list and see if streets need to come off, or are you okay with the streets that are currently on the list, or is this a conversation for another day?
I think it is a conversation for another day. I think it is appropriate to if council so chooses, or this committee so chooses to add this. I think it is appropriate road to have done. Again, I drove it this evening and double-checked on things. Compliments to Councilman Lippian, because he had appeared to have already done his homework with the residents prior to bringing it to my attention. As far as reviewing the list and looking at other streets, Again, I think that should be left up to the individual council people, and then maybe go, because this is, as I shared with Councilman Lippian, and he agreed with the 30 days, we don't need to pass this right now. By the time this gets passed, it's going to be the end of March. The chances of us getting a significant snowstorm, this probably is not going to take effect until next storm season. So if council wants to take a look at their areas and bring stuff else, other streets, we'll certainly, I work with the engineer's office as well, police and fire. I did talk to Chief Pronesti and Chief Palco in regards to this one as well, so.
Is that the pleasure of the committee that we, because we don't have to rush on this, that we hold it and we can add streets to this legislation as we need to?
Madam Chair, I think it is appropriate, at least from this particular one, to get this on the books now, and I think that might be Councilman Lippian's pleasure, so.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll go ahead and vote on this tonight, and then as we need to, we can make referrals and move forward. Any other questions and/or comments? Sir, I thank you for taking the time to come up this evening. Thank you. Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of a proposal to classify Eastern Heights Boulevard from East River Street to South Logan as a snowband street. This is an ordinance authorizing the said street to be classified as a snowband street in order to ensure safe travel for school commuters. Can I get a motion, please? It's been made, motion's been made and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There is no other business to come before this committee. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Good night, everyone. Thank you all so much.
Isn't it a hazard? I mentioned about the cul-de-sacs, and if you have a fire, and you're